Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Sabi Sands. As you can see, we've got off to a great start here on Djuma Private Game Reserve, and how lucky are we that the Nkahuma Pride are still here. I'm not going to talk too much now, well, I'm going to carry on talking, but I'm going to let Brian do his work on the camera so that you don't miss anything. And as we take a look at this lion having a drink, I'll let you know a little bit about our plans for the morning and also about what else has been happening last night. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning here. There's a little bit of cloud cover, not a breath of wind, and it looks like we're in luck. These lion, as we found them here at Vuyatela Dam, just started getting up, and we could see a little bit of playful action. Their bellies are looking a lot more comfortable and less swollen, and it appears they are successfully digesting whatever it is they caught last night. Awesome, look at this. And if any of you may be joining for the first time, a very warm welcome. And just to let you know, this is happening this very second. It's a live safari. And not only is it live, but it's also interactive. So if you would like to ask us questions at any stage, it's really easy to do so. You just hashtag SafariLive on Twitter or send an email through to questions@wildearth.tv. James and Wiem have headed south towards Twin Dams. There was a report of a female leopard seen there last night. So they are trying to see where she has headed. She could be very far, but it's certainly worth them heading in that direction. And there was also some other lion audio heard by James this morning, and he's got a feeling it was coming from that southern part of Djuma. It really is remarkable to see how much more playful they are today than they were yesterday, as they were extremely full-bellied. As I said, we're not exactly sure what they managed to catch 2 nights ago, but they were successful and all extremely full-bellied. You may be hearing the loud bird call, the loud bird call in the background. Chip, 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 chip. That is a helmeted guinea fowl that is not enjoying the sight of these lion, and that's their alarm call that they're letting off. And I forgot to introduce myself with all this lion action. My name is Scott, if you are joining for the first time, and the other presenter that you will meet a little bit later on is James. And Nikki is in the director's chair with Tara lending her a hand this morning. And we're certainly looking forward to the action that is going to unfold here on Djuma and Arathusa this morning. To all of you who sent through updates as to what was seen at the waterhole last night, thank you very, very much. Ellen, Harlequin Dream, and Purple Rain, Heartstone and Lynn, we really do appreciate your updates. And I'm told that there was a herd of elephant that came down to drink. And it will be great if we can manage to track them down a little bit later. Apologies, a single elephant, so in all likelihood a bull. It's never easy deciding where to film when there's so much action unfolding, but Brian's doing a great job at it. And look at how awesome this is. We're considerably lower than them here, and it's such a wonderful angle when you are below the animal or eye level with them. Look at this. This is too good. And not only are they reaffirming their bonds and affection with one another now, but it's also useful training to keep in touch with their hunting skills. All these little games they're playing now are the very similar movements that they will perform when hunting. So they're keeping their relationships in check, as well as their muscle memory for hunting. Excuse me. I am allergic to cats, but I don't think we are close enough for these lions to be causing me to sneeze just yet. Well, good morning, curious one, and thanks for sending your question through. Curious one, I'm guessing, has been listening or watching the Djuma waterhole cam, and she heard the audio of these lions gently calling this morning, and she's interested to know why would they be calling if they're all together. And it could be to communicate with lions in the surrounding area, the dominant male coalition, or just to let other lion know that they are here. There has been quite a lot of movements of lion over the last few weeks since I've been away, and the Styx lioness are pushing into this area, and they could just be making sure that they let other lion know that they are here. Or possibly it was the lioness who headed down to the waterhole to drink first, trying to rally the rest of the pride to come along and follow her. You'll notice little balls of grass dangling from the tree around this line, and those are all weavers' nests, if you were wondering. They're not active at the moment, but over November and December and January, there was a hive of activity in and amongst these nests that the weaver birds have incredibly built, just using their beaks to weave each individual blade of grass. Interestingly enough, we were alerted by the waterhole cam and the zoomies and the viewers that the weavers had located a baby African rock python that was obviously trying to catch some of the babies, and they bomb dived it, and it got caught in that little tree by a hooked thorn that was captured its tail. So we had an interesting sighting with those weaver birds, and now this morning, months later, another interesting sighting in the same place. What I'm going to try and do is reposition ever so slightly and get us a little bit closer to these lion. So hold on for a second. I can just see a few more individuals down to the left, so they're all around us. We just need to get into the right position. Morning, Chris, and good to have you with us. Chris is interested to know, will lion ever swim recreationally to cool down or for enjoyment? And it's a good question. You may have seen tigers doing that in the past, Chris, and tigers are one of the only big cats that will actively go into water that I know of, and it's unlike lion or leopard or cheetah to ever go into the water unless they are really desperate to cross a river or possibly catch some prey. Leopard have been known to even fish catfish or other fish out of drying ponds, so they get their paws wet, but it's only for a meal. Other than that, they will avoid water at all costs, and it's actually quite amusing to see them trying to cross rivers because they can be quite pedantic and look almost quite nerdy when they are attempting to cross rivers. Let's take a closer look at this young male. And Chris, good to have you with us, and thanks for sending that question through. If you listen very carefully, there's a very small chance you may hear some hyena audio. It's a very faint whooping, but I think it could be a little bit far away for you to hear. It sounds like it could be in the vicinity of the den sites that we occasionally get to view them at. Well, morning, Billy Joe, and thank you for blessing my sneeze from a little bit earlier. Billy Joe has mentioned that quite a few of the viewers who watch on Ustream have named this young male lion, or nicknamed this young male lion, Tufty. And I think that's a very appropriate nickname, because look at that funny little tuft on his head. They do look a little bit awkward in their initial stages of their main growth, but he is hopefully going to turn out into a majestic male lion in the next couple of years. He does have a rocky road ahead of him. In the near future, he will be kicked out of this pride by his fathers, and he's already quite lucky to have been tolerated up till this age. And when he does get kicked out, he's going to have to fly below the radar, possibly move a very large distance before he finds other lions that he can hopefully team up with, that accept him into their coalition. But he is going to have to live a life of extreme caution when he does get removed from this pride of lion. What I'm going to do is just reposition once more, because we'll be able to get a great shot of this lion and the rising sun behind him. So give me a moment or two. That was bad timing. He just let off a yawn there. It's not such a cold morning today. It's about 13 degrees Celsius, which is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and enjoying the slightly warmer conditions, because it can get a little bit cooler than that at this time of the year. Well, that's not a bad way to start the day, everyone. You can see a fairly substantial bank of clouds out to the eastern horizon. Brian is busy taking you on a little bit of a tour of that cloud bank. We've just got a question through from Lisa saying that she has heard some lion audio around Idube, which is another property quite far south of us in the Sabi Sands. It's actually an area where I used to work, and I used to drive around Idube and surrounding lodges in the western section of the Sabi Sands. The chance of us hearing audio from there is not likely. It's probably about 20 kilometers from here, which is about 12 miles roughly, and it's too far to have an impact on the line of this area, or for us to be able to hear that, Lisa. The Sabi Sands is a large reserve, 65,000 hectares, where animals in this specific area will have no interaction or contact with other animals within the other parts or southern parts of the Sabi Sands. Well, we are going to stay with these lion and probably go and have a look and see if we can find what the rest of the pride are up to. And while we're establishing what's going on exactly, I think it's a good opportunity to head back to James, or head across to James. He would like to say good morning to all of you and let you know what he's been up to and what his plans are, and we'll see you all a bit later.
Good morning. You're very welcome. You find us here looking east out over towards the Lobombo Mountains. We've come out here following some leopard tracks, but I don't know where they've gone. Karula was spotted around this area last night. We are at the moment, sorry, the radio is now blaring in my ear. We are now going to head down south here. There's some big elephant tracks. So, just to give you some background for those of you who perhaps don't know, Karula is the sort of queen of Djuma, if you like. That's this little section of glorious Kruger National Park that we find ourselves on. And she is about an 11-year-old leopard who I have never seen before. And I have been here for 5 weeks now, 5 weeks and 1 day. And I am fairly desperate now to see this leopard because everyone in the Twitterverse talks about her. All of my colleagues talk about her. And I've never seen her, so I'm quite desperate to find her. She was found last night while we were looking at sleeping lions. She was found at a waterhole called Twin Dams, just down here. And from there, she headed east. And that's basically where we are now. We're east of that position. We did find her tracks going towards that waterhole, but that was obviously prior to her having her evening snifter last night, and she's now on her way, came on her way out here. We're going to try and find her. There's some pretty thick bush in here. Not really sure how much luck we're going to have, but we're going to do our level best. But what you can rest assured of is that there are hugely interesting things everywhere we look. There are great vistas to be had. There are birds, there are trees, there are insects, there are arachnids that we can look at. And there's just a glorious atmosphere of the winter African dawn. So you are most welcome. And please send through your questions and send through your comments, hashtag SafariLive or questions at Wild Earth. I'm sure Scott found the sort of things that you have engaged in and have set off and sparked during the last few weeks. It's been really interesting. I've learned a huge amount about the bush and about our thinking on the bush. And the most important thing I think that we need to realize while we drive around here and think is that there's a huge amount of randomness to what's going on here. And we are as human beings, we're very keen to pocket the behavior that we see and the incidents that we see into some kind of theoretical framework. And that's just what we do. Random thing that happens because we're not au fait with all the variables. And that's what I found so interesting over the last 5 weeks. Right, so let us, with an open mind, sally forth and see what wilderness wonders we can find. I have one glove. Scott has managed to take his gloves back. I used them while he was on leave. Viam has lent me this rather large, ominous-looking leather glove. Hopefully it will bring us luck. The sun is just about to peep over the horizon, but it has not peeped yet. And off to the west, there is a rather misty valley. Pretty chilly. I'm not sure what the temperature is. I'd say probably about 10 degrees Celsius. But up here on the crest, quite nice and warm. Very nice to have those lions early on in the morning. They tend to be, there's a zebra view. And there's another one there. Let's just quickly stop here. I'm going to do quite a lot of stopping and listening. And if we've got a zebra to look at, well, all the better for that. Nice to see the lions early in the morning, playing around a bit. I'm sure they're still looking pretty full, and so they'll probably go down and snooze quite a lot. I was just thinking as I drove along today, very thick stripes that zebra's got on her neck, or his neck. Just thinking how we talk about the dawn chorus, and I think I speak about it ad nauseum every day, but how quiet it is in winter. And then I got to thinking about bird migration and how astonishing that biological phenomena is of these tiny little birds like the barn swallow, which is our sort of herald of the summer when it arrives back in sort of early September. And that barn swallow, the distances that it travels, probably over 10,000 kilometers in some cases. It's just, I mean, what's that? That's 16, no, it's about, call it 7,000 miles, or 6,500 miles. That is a massive, massive distance for a tiny little bird. How does it know where it's going? How does it know to find the little nest that it made last year in Europe? How does it know to find that? It's got a brain roughly that big. How does it find its way? How does it survive on a journey like that? And what biological mechanisms allow it to know to do it? So they do it totally instinctually. No one teaches a swallow where to fly, or how to fly, or where to go. And I just find it the most amazing thing. So any thoughts you have on bird migration, I'd love to hear them. But that's why it's such a quiet dawn chorus. It's a chamber music chorus during the winter. Because so many of those birds disappear off perfectly quiet. So many of them disappear off to Europe and up into Africa, where they can enjoy a full-time summer while we have the winter here. I can't hear anything shouting at leopards, so we're going to continue. The mist is hanging around for a lot longer than it sometimes does. Was just saying as we drove up here, we saw another zebra, and he said he says that your cunning disguise does not fool me, and that's absolutely correct. Of course, those zebras' disguises are very poor if you have the eyes of a human being. Thank you to all of you who are wishing me luck on finding Karula. Certainly it would make my day, possibly my week, possibly my month. I'm going on a spot of a sabbatical in about 5 days' time, and if I don't see her before then, I shall be somewhat desperate, I feel. I know that there is one other chap looking for her at the moment, but as yet nothing has come up on the radio. The advantage of a day like this is that, I don't know if you can see, Liam, can you just sort of try and get that mist there? It looks very beautiful. Quite apart from the beauty of that mist, what it does is that it means that there's been quite a lot of moisture in the air. In fact, I'll just show you exactly how much moisture. It's unusual to have this much moisture in winter. Liam, can you get a shot of this once you've finished being aesthetically pleasing on the mist there? Can you see the water? Can you see the water there? Try. There are just little water droplets on the edge of this grass. It's a grass called Spirobolus, which is a good morning grass to say when your lips are a little bit cold, Spirobolus. And there are little droplets of water on this Spirobolus. I'm not sure if you can see them. Can you get them, Bill? And that for winter is pretty unusual. And the advantage if you're tracking leopards is that leopards, like most kitties, do not really like to be too wet unless they're actually, it's hot and they actually will swim sometimes. But that means that they will often use the roads so that they can avoid becoming wet and cold in the grass. And so with any luck, she'll be on a road, walking gently towards us, and we'll spend most of the morning with her. But maybe not. All right, we're going to pop across to Scott while VM and I attempt to find this recalcitrant lady leopard. He's refound the lions, and we'll see you a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone, and as you can see, we're driving through some fairly thick bush. The lions are on the move, which is great. We've been desperately wanting to show them to you, but sadly, because they're moving through such thick bush, it hasn't really made sense up till now. We got a brief glimpse of them, but they continued moving, and they should be popping out just in front of us at any moment. So nothing to worry about. We will see them again. It's just been a little bit tricky following them through the riverbed that flows below and out of the Djuma waterhole. Now, it appears like I have chosen the wrong spot to try and go through here, but we will find a way, and when we do, we will be spoiled with some more great visuals of these lions. But while we get into position, it'll be great to answer some of your questions, so that's what we're going to be doing. There's a network of different tributaries and little smaller inlets that flow in towards this riverbed, which make it difficult for us to follow the lions directly. Hence the little bit of roundabout action that we are going through now. And rather than doing any unnecessary bundu bashing, which is another term, or a term we use out here for driving off-road. The bundus is another word we'll use for the bush. Rather than causing any unnecessary damage, we're going to take our time and get into the right place. I've got a feeling they're going to pop out onto Central Road, which is not far from us, where another little riverbed flows into the main Mulwati riverbed system. So hold on a second. I think our timing is going to be perfect. Oh, and I can see the tracks of an elephant, in all likelihood the same elephant that we had a report of drinking at the Djuma waterhole last night. They are heading in this direction. This is kind of where the lions were heading towards. Here they are, perfect. Our timing was in front of the front lioness, and we're going to be able to follow the rest of the pride. As they all come past them. Listen to this. She's calling the rest of them, urging them to hurry up. And even though it was a soft and gentle call, it's still one of my favorite things to share with anyone on safari. And what a morning it's been so far already. Here you can see the other pride members in the background. And she's come to say good morning. Just a few meters in front of the vehicle there. Morning, Craig. I think Ormers are mobile east on Central Road. So, we couldn't ask for anything more than this. Lions on the move, and it's good to see that they've finally digested enough of whatever they caught 2 nights ago to a point where they are more comfortable to move around. It looks like the rest of the pride took a bit of a shortcut and are all cutting through this vegetation just ahead of us, but they are going to pop onto the road ahead of us, although it looks like some individuals may have already crossed over. We're going to be in a good spot here though to see the rest of them crossing again from a low angle, which is great. Now, even though they are fairly full-bellied, if they were to come across any potential prey now, they are certainly going to try their best to catch whatever it may be. So we could get lucky. We could see some high-intensity action from these lions a little bit later, or we could just see them playing with one another. They seem to have a bit of a playful streak this morning.
Take it on green.
I think that lioness is rubbing her paws and nose in some old buffalo dung in the road. So that is what she was doing. We'll take a closer look when we do continue along the road, but it's not uncommon for lion to roll in buffalo dung, and I've just taken a look through my binoculars. That's exactly what it is. It's an old dried up piece of buffalo dung. And there's different theories as to why a lion would roll in it or rub their paws in it, possibly to rub the scent of that buffalo over them to mask their own scent, but that is not going to work too well. They sometimes will even lick and consume the fresher buffalo dung that they come across, and that's possibly to attain some minerals and nutrients from the buffalo's diet that their very different diet doesn't provide them with. You may have noticed the swollen front left elbow of the lion that came into shot last at the back of the line, and that is not an uncommon sight in lion within the Kruger National Park, as they are all mostly infected with bovine tuberculosis, which they pick up from the buffalo that they feed on. It's not life-threatening to them initially, but if they do become weak or go through a rough patch of hunting, that TB can be pronounced, and that's why it's often pronounced in the younger members of prides, because they aren't getting as much food as the adults who outcompete them at kills. Here comes Junior, the young male, always at the back of the queue, and fairly typical behavior of male lions who tend to be a bit lazy when they can afford to be. We're going to continue now. It's going to be tricky to loop ahead of them. It would be first prize if we could somehow, loop ahead of the lion and have them walking down the road towards us. But as you can see, either side of the road is very thick, and it's going to make sneaking ahead of them close to impossible. But if we do get a little gap, that is what we will try and do. James gonna. James, just wondering what your position is. Okay, copy, thanks. We'll keep in touch. The Nkumas are mobile east along Central, so it might be nice if you could approach from the east and get their frontal views, because I'm going to battle to loop ahead of them here. Okay, copy. Good luck with those tracks. Well, great news, James has found some female lead tracks on Leadwood Road. As you would have heard me mentioning, it would be nice if he could approach from the east and get you some frontal views of these beautiful lions. But we will just keep in touch and see how the morning unfolds, because we certainly don't want to drag him away from those female leopard tracks. Imagine if he manages to find her, and then we've got two of the apex predators that we can show you. The sun is now beginning to cast some beautiful last station, go ahead with your message. I'm on channel 1. Okay, copy that. Thanks for that update. Okay, very good, very good. The morning is coming alive, and like I was saying, this beautiful golden morning sunlight is beginning to bathe these lion, and I hope that we are lucky enough to continue following them, and it'll be interesting to see how much longer they stay on the move for. But this is exactly what we want with lion. They spend so much time every day sleeping, often with us parked nearby, which certainly, don't get me wrong, is better than not seeing lion, but this is really the best. Golden morning sunlight, the pride of lions on the move. Anything could happen. They could come across leopard, lion, potential prey. So really good prospects. And the colors that we witness in the winter months really are special, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. The mixture of golds and yellows and greens and oranges are really, really beautiful at this time of year. There's a great diversity in colors, whereas the summers can be a little bit overcrowded with green, as everything is lush. Now, we've got some decisions to make here. They have linked across onto Hyena Road, which again is a tricky road to get ahead of them on, but we are going to continue trailing behind them. And there is a chance that they could follow Hyena Road for a small distance and then cross east further towards Buffelshoek Dam, which is what I'm guessing. This is going to be beautiful. Look at that. Uh-oh, you can see Junior misbehaving there. He's becoming more sexually inquisitive as the days go by, and this is the exact reason why he will be kicked out of the pride. Look at the mist and steam coming out of the lion's mouth. Ah, this is too good. And it's so good that I'm going to actually get my camera out and try and fire off a few snaps to hopefully show my grandchildren one day. Good morning, Tamara, and thanks for sending your question through. Tamara is interested to know, or to be reminded of, why are the lion's tails black? And a lot of the animals out here will have follow me signals, which will make it an easy lure to keep young cubs in focus of following their parents or other members of the pride. And basically that's why it's there. Leopards have a white tip at the back of their tail, which will perform the same function. Morning, PK in Iowa, and thanks for sending your observation and question through to us. PK is interested to know whether it's common for all young male lions to... Oh, we've got a little gap to loop ahead of the pride here, so hold on. Will they always follow up from the rear and be the last in queue? And yes, it is very often that the young males and even the old males are the lazy ones at the back of the line. And I guess that's just part of their nature. They know that the lioness are more inclined to provide and hunt, and this allows them the opportunity to be a little bit more lazy. They will, however, contribute when the time is right with hunting. And especially when hunting large prey like buffalo, they will get involved and provide really, really important support to the smaller lionesses. What I'm going to do now is just turn around. The lion are just up ahead of us to the left, coming towards us, but I want to be following them in reverse. In case they do pop onto this road, it'll be easier to get you some great frontal views of them. Just continue, the line in front appears to be looking very intently up ahead. I can hear some ox speckers in this area, so there could be some potential prey. Is try and find a place to stop and wait for them, but it's proving a little bit tricky this time around, so we just need to be a bit patient. They're moving quite cautiously and slowly, and we don't want to go in there unnecessarily. We've already had some great views of them, and it's better sometimes just to wait in order to get best views, rather than crashing in to get you a 1-second glimpse before having to continue off-roading. Although here I've said we need to be patient, and 10 seconds later I'm wanting to start the car and continue, so here we go. That's worked out well. She does appear to be stalking. She is stalking. And there must be something up ahead here. What she is doing is possibly not heading directly towards the prey, but trying to loop around. And you can see she's very intense. And what the other members of the pride may be doing is heading in the opposite direction, creating a pincer movement, encompassing the prey. Whatever the prey could be. I've got no idea. Oh, it's a buffalo. Can you believe it? We could see a buffalo hunt. I'm just going to get into position. There's 1 or 2 buffalo bulls here. Can you believe it? This is really, really awesome. This is exactly what we hope for. It's the ultimate showdown to see lion hunting buffalo. It's a very difficult task for them. But if we get to see this action unfold, it will be absolutely awesome. It's something that doesn't happen very often. And the few times that I have watched this pride hunt buffalo, the buffalo have actually showed them who's boss and actually made a fool of the Nkuhuma pride. The one lioness is still parallel to us as we're reversing, and the buffalo are just off to our right now. There's more than one. I'm not sure how many are here, but I can see about 4 or 5 so far. I just want to get a little bit further, and then we'll be in a situation to stop. Okay, folks, now it's important to understand that we really do appreciate all the questions that you send through, but it's impossible to answer all of them. And especially in a scenario like this when lions are hunting buffalo, we need to let the animals do the talking and also just keep you fully informed as to what's going on. So apologies if we aren't answering as many questions as you would like, but it's impossible to do everyone's questions, especially on a morning like this. Now the one lioness is behind us, and there's a little gap here where I think we are going to decide to wait, because either way it's quite thick here. Sorry Brian, I've parked him on a bit of an awkward angle with the camera, but just to give you the full picture, the buffalo are off to our right I've seen about 5 or 6 of them, and the one lioness has followed us basically step for step as we've reversed. She's been parallel to us, and she's now actually almost completely behind these buffalo. The rest of the pride, well, we can only guess as to where they are, but I would like to think that, and typically what lion will do is they'll try and spread out, encompass their prey, and that way when one lioness does charge in, the rest of them can simultaneously attack from all angles, and this is what makes lions hunting so successful. The one lioness has just crossed behind us, and Brian will possibly be able to get her in view fairly shortly. Shall I reverse, Brian, a bit, or?
I think she'll come into shot.
Okay. So we are just going to wait where we are, but directly behind the antenna that you can see in the center of the shot is where the lion is. So if you look closely behind that bush, you may see a little bit of movement, but she does appear to be heading from right to left, and she is in there behind that termite mound. Apologies for the view of the aerial in the center of the shot, but this is a live show, and there's certain things that are simply unavoidable. Now, you may be wondering, how did the lion detect these buffalo? Possibly a combination of smell as well as hearing. They could possibly even hear the buffalo chewing the cud. Or their hooves gently padding through the undergrowth. As you can see, this buffalo now is doing exactly that. He is chewing the cud in a complete state of relaxation. They have got no idea that there's a pride of lions surrounding them. What we can expect when the buffalo do get wind of the lion is a lot of crashing through bushes as they run off. If the lion are lucky enough to pull down one buffalo, that's not the end of the hunt for them, because they're going to still have to contend with the other buffalo bulls that will regroup, regain a bit of mental prowess and courage, and come in and try and chase the lion off their colleague. We are going to try and reposition ever so slightly to give you a better perspective of what's going on, so hold on for a second, please. It's just going to be a meter or two that we need to move. Now, as you can see, we are keeping a distance from the buffalo and the lion. We don't want to interfere and aid any of the predators or the prey whenever there is hunting, so we're keeping a safe distance. The closest buffalo is just ahead of us to the left over there. And now Brian can show you the lioness who's trying to creep up as carefully and quietly as she can. I know it's very thick, but like I said, it's important for us to not interfere. And I actually quite like these shots where the animal has some cover in the foreground. It gives you a great perspective of actually what's going on here, and also the view that the buffalo will have when looking at these lion. There's quite a lot of cover, and the lion are going to be able to get nice and close. Now I'm going to try and whisper as much as possible. Now again, we want to emphasize that we are simply spectators here, and we are in no way a part of this hunt. Wouldn't it be wonderful to know where the rest of the pride are? Good morning, Rena. And isn't this so exciting? Rena's interested to know how many buffalo can I see? I've seen about 4 or 5. Brian's happy with that guesstimate as well. Like I say, it is fairly thick here, so there could be a few more buffalo that we cannot see. But there's at least 4 or 5. And what's interesting to note about even those numbers is that even though it's a very small herd of buffalo bulls, these are all bulls, there are no young calves or slightly smaller females that would be easier prey for the lion. So all of their potential options here are one of their toughest adversaries to take down, the mighty Cape buffalo. And even if there was only 2 of them and the lion managed to bring down 1, I've seen 1 buffalo bull come back and chase 8 lion, which is the same amount of lion we're looking at here, off another buffalo. So you just need 2 buffalo together to be a formidable team. And lion won't take any chances when buffalo come in and regroup to chase lion off buffalo that they've already taken down. It's not uncommon for the buffalo to come out on top. And I've seen lion getting tossed into the air like little rag dolls by these big buffalo bulls. They're incredibly powerful, probably 5 or 6 times heavier than your average lioness. So they've got a huge size advantage. The lioness off to our right is now sitting. Okay, I can hear running. Here's action. The buffalo are running, the lion's running off into shots as well. It's difficult to know what's going on here, but here goes. Great work on camera there, Brian. Look at how awesome this is. It looks like the lions haven't got lucky, but we're just going to reposition now quickly. Hold on to your everything, because we need to try and stay with them now. There's a big cloud of dust up ahead of us that's been left from these buffalo's hooves, and like I said, it looks like the lion have been showed up again. But let's just make sure. They could continue chasing. Look at all this dust. It's important to just stop and listen in a scenario like this, because other members of the pride may be continuing to pursue those. It looked like 6 or 7 buffalo in the end that ran off, but not easy business. And I can now hear the lion vocalizing, probably in despair and frustration after missing that opportunity and seeing all that tasty meat running away. But what an awesome sighting that was. And even though it was very thick, thankfully Brian did an incredible job keeping track of that lion as she ran after the buffalo. So well done for capturing that, Brian.
Thank you.
It's not often we get to see lions hunting, so when we do, we get extremely excited, and in that excited state, it's not easy to make the right decisions. So, well done for pulling that off. My heart is racing, and I hope all of yours are as well. It's really exciting stuff. It's like, yet again, the buffalo have shown the Nkahuma pride who is boss. What we're going to do is what the lion are going to do now. They did run off into very thick bush after these buffalo, but it looks like they probably will all come back to the road. But while we establish what they're doing, it sounds like James has found something very interesting for you. So from a buffalo hunt across to another exciting little piece of wilderness, we'll see you later.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Giga. We are looking at a spectacular knobthorn tree here that is about to die as a result of the machinations of some elephants. Now, I believe you were looking at some lions, which were probably relatively exciting, but not quite as exciting as this knobthorn tree. Viam, do you want to just pull focus out a little bit? We didn't really bring you over here to look at a knobthorn tree. There, everybody, is Kurula in a tree with an impala. And we are extremely excited. We haven't been in there. We've been savoring the moment, and we're about to go in there and have a look now with you. So my day, my week, and my month have now been made. Let's get a closer look. Isn't that